Alrighty. I wanted to go over my settings. People ask me for my specs, I think one person asked me for my crosshair, my sensitivity, just my settings in general. So I'll go over my PC specs right now. So for my CPU, I have a Ryzen 7 5700X 3D. I did have a Ryzen 5 5600X. I think that's what it was. I have to upgrade to the 5700X 3D because this game is like very CPU intensive. You know, and the 3D cache on the AMD CPUs are like really good. If you have a AM4 motherboard, you know, I'd recommend the 5700X 3D. Or if you want to spend, I think that extra $100, you can get the 5800X 3D. I think the 5800X 3D is the best for AM4, if I'm not mistaken. But if you have a AM5 motherboard, you can go for like a 7800X 3D. I think there's a 98. Yeah, there is a 9800X 3D. You know, I'd very much recommend, you know, a 3D cache CPU for the finals. Yeah, in the future, if I were to upgrade, I'd definitely go for, you know, a 9800X 3D. All right. For my GPU, this is my GPU. It's the RTX 3060, 12 gigabytes. I don't think there's anything too crazy about it. I'm not, you know, too sure about like the core clock and all that. But I have a 3060 right now, and for my RAM, I have the G-Skill Ripjaws V series. I went with these ones specifically. You don't need 32 gigabytes for the finals. I think the finals only uses like 12 gigabytes maybe. I went with these ones because they have a low DAS latency. That doesn't make a huge difference in game. It's not going to give you like a huge FPS boost. I think having a lower CAS latency lowers your 1% lows, you know, whatever that means. I'm sure someone can get very technical in the comments, but I went with this one just because of the low CAS latency, and you know, in the 3600 megahertz. But anyways, yeah, that's my CPU, GPU, and RAM. I don't think anything else really matters apart from that in terms of specs. People are curious about my mouse. If you care, my mouse pad. I have a SkyPad. I have a SkyPad 3.0. This company did rebrand to Wallhack. They have a newer glass mouse pad. If you want a glass mouse pad, you know, go for it. I'm not gonna sit here and say, you know, a glass mouse pad will make you a better aimer overnight. I know I was doing well on my Artisan Ian, I think it's called. I was doing well on that. I just went with a glass mouse pad because I know it has its benefits and pros and cons, I should say. You know, the pro that, you know, made me want to buy it is, you know, people will say, you know, glass pads are good for tracking and not necessarily made for games like Valorant or Counter-Strike or, you know, Siege. But I did use this on Siege when I play Siege on a rare occasion. Yeah, like, you know, even it says on here it's easy to clean. That's what I like. I like kind of just, because with cloth pads, in my opinion, my only gripe I have with cloth pads is that when you like kind of move your arm rubs on the pad, and then like sweat builds up in it, and then your dead skin cells build up in it, and then it kind of changes the consistency of the pad itself. Then you have to, you know, clean your pad as you should. If you have a cloth one, clean it like, I'd say once every 1 to 3 months, because like, you know, as I said, with the dead skin cells and sweat, you can develop like slow spots on your mouse pad. But in the future, I definitely will upgrade to the Wallhack 4.0. For my mouse, I have the Lamzu Maya, which is pretty cool mouse, can't lie. The reason why I bought this one specifically is because it's only 45 grams. You know, it's lighter than the G Pro Superlight. You know, people kind of gravitate towards the Superlight. The Superlight is less than 63 grams. So my mouse, Lamzu Maya, is like almost 20 grams lighter than the G Pro Superlight. And the shape is kind of similar, like really similar to the G Pro Superlight. And I think, if I remember, the Lamzu Maya has a better sensor, whatever that means. And for my skates on my Lamzu Maya, I have the SkyPad Wallhack Pro dot skates. I'm pretty sure any dot skates will work. I just went with these ones because there's no like really specifically made skates for the Lamzumaya. Well, there is. I know Tiger Ice makes some skates for the Lamzumaya, but every site I went on, like, dude, the shipping was like double what the price of the skates were. So I just kind of opted for these. They're pretty cool. I like them. But yeah, that's it for my peripherals. Well, the keyboard's literally just a Wooting 60HE. It doesn't provide me, any benefit over a regular keyboard, especially in the finals. So keyboards aren't really that much of a factor when it comes to the finals. There's features on the Wooting like the Rappy Snappy or the SOCD. These two features don't really give you that much of a benefit in the finals, so you're well off with just a regular old mechanical keyboard. For the in-game settings, I have my region on set to North America. I used to play on automatic back in like season 1 and 2, but I just kind of swapped it to North America and been on there ever since. My crossplay's on. My crosshair, I have on a static reticle. I use this circle one. Sometimes I will use a plus, and I think I use like length of 7. No, it's like 6. I think a length of 6 and 5, and have it set to like a pink color. But right now I'm just feeling the little ring right now. When I get bored of the ring one, I'll probably swap back to that regular looking crosshair. Anonymous mode doesn't matter. These don't matter to me. But here's the bread and butter. So for my mouse, I play on 1600 DPI. If you play on 800 DPI and you want to use my sensitivity, all you have to do is really just double this to 40. Pretty sure. Yeah, playing 1600 DPI, 20 in game. Sensitivity multipliers all the way up. I have my scope to zoom set to 60. With my sensitivity scaling on. Yeah, I don't know. I just kind of changed my sensitivity quite a lot in seasons 1, 2, I think 3. But from seasons 4, 5, and now this has been my setting. I haven't really felt the need to change it. I mean, I feel like I'm pretty consistent with these settings. There's nothing special about keybinds, but people will look at my sprint toggle and be like, why is it set to R? My reload's set to my side mouse button. So funny thing about my reload is back in CSGO days, back in 2017, I just kind of swapped my reload from R to the side reload to the side mouse button. And I've just been using that setting ever since I started playing PC. I use R for my run, which I think is comfortable for me. There's nothing really special apart from my gadget 3. I swapped it from 4 to Z. Nothing special. Accessibility, nothing's on. Subtitles are off. Colorblind default. I should turn this on actually, so the flashbang color isn't white. For audio, master volume 100. I have my commentator volume at 26. I used to have it at 50, but I just kind of halved it again. I play with night mode off. Some people play with it on. Kind of makes quieter footsteps. I mean, the quieter sounds louder. Personally, I just kind of sometimes I tried with night mode, but when I'm recording, like I literally cannot hear myself think when I want to say something. So I just kind of like play with it off and haven't really felt the need to turn it on. So, and onto my video settings. I play with borderless full screen. I think it says on the side here, as you see where it says in exclusive full screen mode. Towards the end it says it can cause switching between applications on your PC to become slow and stuttery while giving no performance benefit on modern Windows versions. So really no use on playing an exclusive full screen. You're not going to get an FPS boost. Play with VSync off. You should play it at every FPS with VSync off. Your reflex, I play with it on plus boost. But on my 5600X, my old CPU, I played with it off. Just so the game can use more of the CPU, I guess. That makes sense. You have a strong CPU, strong graphics card, just play with on plus boost. My frame rate limit that I limited. I do have a 180 Hertz monitor. Even though I don't hit that 180 FPS in game a lot of the times. I do see people say that you should limit it to something just above your refresh rate on your monitor, but no, I just keep it on unlimited. For my upscaled resolution, 100%. NVIDIA DLSS. This is specifically for RTX cards, NVIDIA graphics cards. If you don't have one, you can opt for, I think it's TAAU. I used to play on TAAU on my 3060, and I used to have it set to like 75. I don't know why I had it set to that, but I did. But I swapped to DLSS and haven't swapped from it since. So I have it set to balance for now on Transformer. So Transformer, see, it's Transformer's the new model, whereas CNN is the older DLSS versions. But when it was just CNN, I had it on quality with the old DLSS, because having it on, performance or even balance, it made it look kind of bad. And sometimes you need to see far. You don't want to have that far distance to be blurred. So I was gonna have it on quality, but I can get away with performance on Transformer, and the longer ranges will still look good, and it'll give me more FPS than CNN balanced or quality. But apart from that, my field of view 100. I want to see more. My peripheral, motion blur disabled, lens distortion disabled, RTX global illumination static, and everything on low. Like literally everything on low. I don't really see a reason why you would have anything turned up in here. I mean, if you have like a 5090, yeah, sure, you can, probably play on like high or epic and still get a good amount of FPS. But if you're on I guess you can consider my system a lower end system now. Well, not really. You can consider my 3060 like a medium end build. Even if I had like a beefy GPU, like a 4090, I'd still have everything on low just so I can squeeze as much FPS as I can out of this game. Yeah, I mean, there's really nothing beneficial to having any of these turned up if you're on a bit of a lower end, medium end system. But yeah, that's it. I don't really have anything on that's like special, that there's no secret setting that'll make you 10 times better. That's pretty much everything.